Fox News Network, and today we're going to talk about the U.S. military taking over Terminal 1 at Kotoka International Airport in Accra, Ghana. So the aviation minister, Joseph Kofi Adda, he said that the United States military has secured some parts of the Kotoka International Airport for its military operations. So why now is the U.S. military, the U.S. government, why are they all of a sudden obsessed with Ghana? Some of the motivations for the U.S. interest in Ghana, because in the day, U.S. doesn't have allies, it only has interests. So some of the motivators is to counter China in Africa, because China is gaining influence in the continent each and every day. And the U.S. also wants access to natural resources in Africa, like Ghana. Ghana has natural resources like every single sovereign nation in Africa. Ghana has gold, cocoa, iron, diamond, manganese, bauxite, oil, gas, lithium, things like that. So the arrangement basically is saying that the U.S. is going to use the Terminal 1 for logistics support and hangering services. It's basically a 15-year rental agreement between the U.S. military and Ghana's aviation. And then what is Ghana getting in exchange? They're basically getting $20 million in aid, and also Ghanaian soldiers will be trained by U.S. military to counter terrorism in West Africa and to be able to fight off terrorist threats. So why did this happen? The U.S. politically wants influence in Africa. They're losing influence in the continent. And Ghana wants to grow its economy. So let's look at this deal. It happened around 2020. So basically during the pandemic. So a lot of countries, they were affected by the pandemic, and a lot of people lost money. So let's look at Ghana's GDP in 2019. In 2019, Ghana's GDP was $68 billion. Now, this deal happened around 2020. So let's look at Ghana's GDP in 2020, 70 billion. So from 68 to 70. And now let's look at Ghana's GDP in 2023. And now Ghana's GDP, by the end of this year, it's expected to reach $73 billion. So Ghana GDP from 2019 to now 2023 has grown from 68 to 73 billion. So this deal was more than likely to benefit Ghana economically, which you can't really blame them for doing that. And how did this happen? Well, the U.S. government, more than likely, they reached out to the Ghanaian government. So what are some consequences for Ghana in this deal? Well, Ghana could be destabilized by the West. Whenever an African country does military training with the West, what later happens if this government does not comply with the West is a coup in the nation will happen. And that's what's going to happen most likely if it were to happen. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to promote it. But based off of the assessments and looking at each and every African nation, that's what's been going on. saying more routine, like Niger. Look at Niger, a country recently that had a coup. And I'm going to do a video on that because a lot of media outlets, they're posting the same propaganda. They're not really investigating, asking questions, going deeper. And what are some consequences for the U.S. in this deal? Well, if it doesn't go according to plan, the U.S. will continue to lose influence in Africa. So what is being hidden? Well, this information is being hidden because no major media outlet is talking about this. And you really have to dig deep to find articles on this, dig deep to find information. So it's obviously not going to be pushed. And the major beneficiary from this deal, the person that benefits the most, is the West Africa Logistics Network, also known as WALN. They benefit the most from this deal. Why? Because they have tax exemptions. They have unrestricted access to Terminal 1 at the Kotoka International Airport. So they can go in and out anytime they want, any time of the day, do whatever. And why do Ghanaian government allow this? They pretty much don't have a say, because if they were to say no, then more than likely the West would have retaliated. And my question is to viewers and to whoever's watching, will the U.S. allow Ghana or any other African nation to take over a U.S. terminal? Let's say in Washington, D.C., just for the sake of it. My answer is no, they would not allow it. And if they did allow it, that news will be all over at every major U.S. media outlet. So who is affected the most from this deal is the Ghanaian people, the everyday working people. Their sovereignty has been invaded. And some of you might be asking, okay, where's the evidence? I posted a link in the bio, videos, and different news articles from different countries and websites. And what are some legal and ethical implications? Ghanaian people, their sovereignty is being broken. End of the day, that's what's going on. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.